Imagine standing at a friend's engagement party, champagne in hand, everyone cheering for love, and your wife suddenly announces she's divorcing you in front of the whole room. What would you do? Here's what I did. Hey, this is Andrew. 3 years married. Doesn't sound like a lot when you say it out loud, but man, it feels like a chunk of time. You blink, and suddenly you've got furniture you didn't even pick out, a fridge that's half hers, half yours, and a rhythm that just exists. People ask if you're happy, and you don't even stop to think. You just go, yes, sure. Because what else do you say? We weren't fighting every day, no cops called to the house, no dramas spilling into the group chat. So yeah, I thought we're fine. I'm not some big romantic, never was. I don't write poems or set up candlelit dinners on a Tuesday night. That's not me. What I do is show up. I keep the gas tank filled so she's not stranded. I handle the stuff nobody wants to touch. Insurance, trash bins, calling the plumber. I don't miss payments. I don't lose track of birthdays. To me, that's love. That's marriage. Danielle used to joke that I was basically a human calendar with arms, but she'd still tell her friends I was dependable, which is fine by me. I'll take dependable over chaos any day. Sure, she had her moments. Sharp tongue, little digs here and there. Nothing nuclear, just enough to sting if you let it land. I usually didn't. Figured it was stress. She worked with clients who treated deadlines like jokes, so if she came home edgy, I'd let it roll. That's part of the job, hers and mine. You don't pick apart every word or you'll drive yourself insane. So I didn't. I just kept things steady. That's always been my move. From the outside, we looked like one of those couples who had their shit together. Friends called us balanced. We showed up to stuff on time. We brought decent gifts. We hosted game nights where nobody left hungry. I was the guy carrying the heavy boxes when someone moved. She was the girl everyone confided in after 2 glasses of wine. That was the picture. And honestly, I bought into it too. Because if everybody thinks you're solid, maybe you actually are. That's why I was actually looking forward to the engagement party. Mutual friends, good people, not the kind who make every event about themselves. They'd been together long enough to know what they were signing up for. Still looked at each other like they were in on the same joke. Reminded me of Danielle and me early on, when she'd tease me about my dumb lists, but then scribble little hearts on them anyway. Stupid, small stuff, but that's what makes it feel like a team. I figured the party might shake us out of whatever rut we'd slipped into. Get dressed up, have a couple drinks, laugh with friends, maybe even dance. Nothing heavy, just a night where things felt easy again. The day of, I kept it simple. Picked up the registry gift, baking sheets, and a cooling rack, because apparently that's what people want to celebrate getting engaged. Wrapped it tight, no gaps in the corners, card filled out in the same neat handwriting I've had since high school. Danielle booked a blowout and tried on half her closet. Said the invite said cocktail attire, so she wanted something just right. Fine by me. I iron my shirt, shine my shoes, check traffic to the venue. That's how my brain works. Smooth the edges before we leave so the night doesn't snag on stupid details. On the drive over, I was actually in a decent mood. Thinking about seeing the group, catching up, maybe taking a picture where I didn't look like a hostage. Danielle was quiet, scrolling on her phone, but that didn't seem weird. She zones out in the car all the time. I figured once we got there, the switch would flip. She'd light up, we'd have a drink, it'd be fine. That's what I told myself, anyway. I wanted one night where I wasn't double-checking the vibe in the room, where I wasn't thinking about whether she was stressed or whether I should say more or less. Just one night where we were like those couples who looked easy together, laughing, leaning in, remembering why we even signed the papers in the first place. I didn't need fireworks. Just steady. Just good. So yeah, walking into that party, I was hopeful. Not in a big, life-changing way. Just in that small, practical way where you think, maybe tonight we'll reset things. Maybe tonight we'll get back to being the version of us that people think we are. I wasn't worried, not even close. If you told me what was coming, I'd have laughed. Because in my head, we were fine. Totally fine.
Hey there, I'm Danielle. I'd been simmering for weeks. No, longer than that. Months maybe. It was like this low hum under everything we did. Andrew just existed. Calm, steady, boring. People love to call him dependable. And sure, he pays the bills on time and knows when the tires need to be rotated. but that's not marriage. That's not intimacy. That's a roommate with a filing system. I'd look at him across the dinner table, and it was like watching someone on autopilot. Chew, nod, small talk about traffic. Like he was married to routine, not to me. And I couldn't shake it. The more he acted unbothered, the more I felt invisible. That morning we fought. Well, not even fought. Argued, which is worse in a way, because he doesn't raise his voice, doesn't bite back. He just sits there calm and makes you feel crazy. I mentioned something about the credit card bill. He made a comment about my spending, not even harsh, just that tone, that responsible Andrew tone, and I snapped. Said he never notices me unless it's about money. He shook his head like I was being dramatic, and that was it. End of conversation. He went back to his coffee like I hadn't just told him I felt ignored. Do you know what that does? Makes you want to burn the whole thing down, just so someone notices the flames. By the time we got to the engagement party, I was already tight in the chest. My sister texted me earlier saying she'd seen photos of us at brunch last week and how we looked so happy. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. Nobody sees it. Nobody sees me. They see Andrew. Calm, steady Andrew, the guy who always knows when the oil needs to be changed. And they see me smiling beside him like some prop wife. Meanwhile, I'm screaming inside. And when I try to say it out loud, he shrugs. He thinks because we're not throwing dishes, we're fine. I swear that man could live in a burning house and still say, it's a little warm but manageable. The party was loud, music, chatter, people already tipsy on Prosecco. I plastered on my face, the one I use at work when clients are being impossible. Laugh, sip, nod. But it felt fake, every second of it. Andrew was doing his usual thing, talking sports with the guys, laughing at the right times, looking like the model husband who never causes a scene. And I was standing there, feeling like the outsider in my own marriage. Everyone toasting to lasting love and forever, and all I could think was, no one knows what it's really like behind the curtain. No one knows what it's like to feel married to a ghost. So when the toast happened, the big one, everyone clinking glasses, talking about love that endures, I don't even know what came over me. It just came out. I said, well, Andrew and I won't be celebrating anniversaries much longer. I'm divorcing him. Like that. Just dropped it in the middle of champagne bubbles and string lights. And the sound in the room just died. Laughter clipped off mid-breath. You could feel it. Everyone's eyes snapping to me, then to him, then back to me. My stomach flipped, but I kept my chin up, like I meant it, like it was some joke or some truth I didn't care about spilling. Andrew didn't say a word, didn't go red, didn't stutter, didn't even try to fix it. He just set his glass down real slow, gave me this look, measured, not angry, not hurt, just clear, and walked out. That's it. Didn't shout, didn't demand an explanation. Just left. And that silence he left behind was louder than anything I could have screamed. People tried to cover, make little jokes, change the subject, but it was useless. The party had shifted. Every laugh after that sounded forced. Every glance was sideways. And I felt it, my chest tight, my mouth dry, but I kept pretending like it was fine, like I didn't care. Some of them looked at me like I was heartless. Others just avoided me altogether, whispering in corners. A couple friends tried to smile, to ask if I was joking, but I brushed it off. Couldn't backtrack now. If I said I didn't mean it, I'd look weak. If I doubled down, I'd look cruel. So I did what I always do, pretend. Pretend it was nothing. Pretend it didn't sting when he walked out like I was nothing worth staying for. Pretend the whole room wasn't staring at me like I'd just kicked a puppy. But inside I felt that pang, sharp and instant, like regret was waiting around the corner the whole time. I thought he'd get angry, beg me to take it back, make a scene. Something. Anything. But he didn't. He left. And that hurt worse than any fight could have.
I went home alone that night. Keys on the counter, jacket on the chair, lights off except the hallway. Just me and the quiet. And the thing that got me wasn't shock or anger or even sadness. It was how normal it felt. No pit in my stomach, no racing thoughts. Just still. I sat on the couch waiting for something to hit, some wave of panic, but it never came. If anything, I caught myself breathing easier. And that's when it clicked. I'd been letting a lot slide. Not because I was blind, but because I'm easygoing. I don't pick fights. I've been coasting along thinking comment fine, but really it just meant I'd gotten used to carrying weight I shouldn't have been carrying. She thought she could humiliate me at that party, and I'd come crawling. That's the part that actually made me laugh. She figured I'd chase after her, beg her to explain, beg her to come home. That's the script in her head, I bet. Me running damage control, her sitting back smug that she finally got a reaction. But instead, I felt lighter. And it wasn't some deep, buried misery coming up. It was just me finally realizing the constant sharp edges, the digs, the tension, all of it had been wearing me down more than I noticed. Like living with a low hum you stop hearing until someone switches it off. And she switched it off herself with that one line. The next morning, I didn't waste time. Called a lawyer, pulled up the prenup. We'd signed it before we got married, and it made things simple. Clean split, no circus. I moved money out, locked down accounts, sorted what was mine and what was hers. Not with anger, just with clarity. For the first time in a while, I felt like I was steering instead of just sitting back and letting things happen around me. Meanwhile, she was at her sister's. 2 days, maybe more. Probably thought she was punishing me by keeping me waiting. Truth is, every hour she stayed away, I felt steadier. I cleared her clutter from the bathroom, made space in the closet, started thinking about what I actually wanted in the house. Not bitter, just practical. It felt good, like finally tightening bolts that had been loose for years. My shoulders dropped without me even trying. That's when I knew this wasn't a crisis for me. This was a reset. And the funny part? The fallout wasn't mine. Friends were already talking, calling me, telling me they couldn't believe she did that at the party. Some even apologized for her, like I'd been the one humiliated. I didn't say much, just thanked them, kept it short. I didn't need to defend myself. She did the damage all on her own. And people saw it. They saw me walk out calm, and they saw her blow everything up. That's all anyone needed to know. So no, I wasn't broken. I wasn't gutted. I was clear. I realized I'd been letting her sharp edges slide for too long, thinking that made me patient, easygoing, dependable. But there's a difference between being steady and being stepped on. She thought she could push me in public, and I'd fold. She thought silence meant weakness. But walking away, not looking back, that was strength. And I wasn't about to give her what she wanted by crawling after her. I was done carrying dead weight. Done pretending sharp words didn't matter. Done letting her mistakes slide like they were nothing. She wanted a reaction, and she got one. Just not the one she expected.
The first day at my sister's, I told myself I was fine. That Andrew would crack. That he'd call, demand answers, maybe even show up at the door. I was ready for it, rehearsing lines in my head. Things like, "You blindsided me, but I get why you're angry," or "It came out wrong. I didn't mean it like that." All the ways to soften the blow without really apologizing. Because deep down, I thought he'd be the one to bridge the gap. He always was. That was our dynamic. Me sharp, him steady. I push, he absorbs. I say something I don't mean, he lets it slide. It's how we survived 3 years. So I figured this time wouldn't be any different, just louder. By the second day, the silence felt heavy. No text, no missed call, no voicemail. Nothing. My sister tried to play peacemaker, told me maybe he was giving me space. I nodded, but inside I was spiraling. Because Andrew isn't dramatic. He doesn't give space. He fixes things. He's the guy who makes a list and ticks the boxes. The absence of him meant something bigger. I scrolled our messages, no new ones. Checked social media, nothing posted. It was like he'd erased me overnight. And that scared me more than any screaming match ever could. Then the messages from friends started rolling in, not to me, but to my sister. I overheard her whispering in the kitchen. People were talking. They said what I did at the party was cruel, cold, a stunt. Some called Andrew directly to check on him. Nobody was checking on me. Not really. And the worst part, the engaged couple, whose party I blew up, they hadn't spoken to me at all. Silence, which, honestly, said everything. I turned their night into my stage, and they weren't forgiving. By day 3, I caved, packed my bag, told my sister I was going to fix it. She gave me that look, half pity, half warning, but I ignored it. I drove back to the house rehearsing the speech in my head. How I'd say I was sorry, that it was the wrong place, the wrong time. That I didn't mean it, not really. That we could work through it. Marriage isn't perfect. People make mistakes. All the lines people use when they've gone too far. Walking through the door, I expected anger. Maybe relief. Maybe him snapping that I'd embarrassed him. I was ready for that. Anger I can work with. But when I found him in the kitchen, he just looked at me calm, steady, the same way he looked at me the night he walked out of the party. And that calmness gutted me. Because it wasn't patience anymore, it was distance. I started in with my lines. Said I'd overreacted. Said it was a joke that landed wrong. Said we shouldn't throw away 3 years over one bad night. I even cried, real tears, the kind that usually softened him. But he just stood there, listening, letting me burn through all my excuses. When I finally stopped, he said, steady as ever, "Can you undo the disrespect? Can you erase the humiliation? You blindsided me in front of everyone. I won't live like that. No shouting, no bargaining, just final." And it was colder than anger. Anger means someone still cares enough to fight. Indifference means they're done. And that's what I felt rolling off him, done. I begged then. Dropped the pride, dropped the posture, just begged. Told him I'd change, that I needed him, that I couldn't believe he was ready to throw it all away. I clutched at his arm, but he didn't flinch, didn't soften. He just pulled away gently, like he'd moved from a stranger brushing too close. And that's when it hit me. I had already lost him. The fallout was quick. Word spread faster than I could catch it. Friends who'd been in that room told the story over and over. How I'd ruined the engagement party with one sentence. How Andrew walked out calm, dignified, while I stood there pretending it was nothing. The engaged couple themselves were furious. I heard through a mutual friend that they called me selfish, said I'd tainted their night. And they were right. That night should have been theirs, and I stole it. People started pulling back. Invites dried up. Group chats went quiet when I chimed in. One friend texted me straight up, "You embarrassed him and us in front of everyone. That's not something we can overlook." And that one hurt because I realized it wasn't just Andrew I'd lost. It was the circle we built together. The trivia nights, the parties, the weddings we were supposed to attend side by side. All of it evaporated. I was radioactive. And Andrew, he walked away clean. That prenup he insisted on meant no messy battles. No screaming over who gets the couch or the dog. He handled the paperwork, the accounts, the logistics, with the same efficiency he handled everything else. People admired him for it, called him composed, graceful. He came out looking like the wronged husband who carried himself with dignity. I came out looking like the woman who torched her own marriage in public for attention. The humiliation was total. Instead of making him look weak, I'd made myself look cruel. Instead of putting him on the defensive, I'd handed him all the sympathy. And once that reputation sticks, it doesn't wash off. I became the woman who ruined her friend's engagement party by announcing her own divorce. That's the story now. Not my career, not my personality, not the years of work I put into anything. Just that night, just that sentence. I thought I was proving a point, forcing him to react, showing people that I wasn't just living in his shadow. But all I proved was that I didn't respect him, or myself, enough to handle it privately. And now, I'm left standing in the wreckage. No husband, no respect for my friends, no place in the circle I once thrived in. Just silence. The worst part isn't losing him. The worst part is realizing how badly I misplayed my hand. I thought Andrew would come crawling. I thought silence meant weakness. I thought I had the upper hand. But he was stronger than I ever gave him credit for. And now he's free. And I'm the one crawling. Alone.